Hey guys, Shamor Brown here. Welcome to the Eagle Podcast Night Talks Season 6, Episode number 24. Now, I know I told you guys that this next episode tonight is going to be life changing. I know I made a promise in the last one. I'm making a promise in this one as well. So please get your pen, get your notepad quickly, because the young lady who's going to be speaking tonight, she has a background in finance and she's going to be laying some gems on us tonight on how we can improve our finance and be able to build wealth. Now, again, if you're already wealthy already, great. This is just a bonus. Now, if you're not wealthy at all, but you want to be wealthy, great. Listen to this, take notes, and all that good stuff. Now, again, the title of tonight's episode is called The Power of Finance. And again, money is not everything, but lack of money creates a lot of problems. So that's why it's very good to be able to do something about it. But anyways, let me bring up the speaker because again, I really want you guys to be able to, get as much, I want her to get most of the talking time. So let me bring her up. So her name is Jessica Picardo, right? My girl, she's originally from Tampa, Florida. Woohoo, right? She has a background in public health, right? But for some reason, she told me the reason, but I hope she'll be able to share it with you guys tonight, the reason. But my girl, even though she had a background in public health, my girl said, hey, you know what? I wanna go into the financial realm. And based on my knowledge, she's doing pretty well for herself. You get what I'm saying? She has a beautiful son, right? It was so funny that I found out that me and him were born the same month, Roman, right? Amazing kid, right? But her core belief is that she loves to help family, and that's one of the major reasons why I asked her, because she helped me. You get what I'm saying? Because like I said, I told you guys before that building wealth is a big thing for me. I think I told you guys about it in my last episode, right? Set goals and hit them. Building wealth is a big thing for me, and Jessica, she played a vital role in helping me to check off a next box that I have or that I need to check off when it comes on to building wealth. But anyways, she loves to help family, right? She loves to help people. You know what? You guys will hear for yourself. So let me just bring her up. Let me just bring her up because I really want she to talk. So anyways, here's Jessica.
Well, thank you very much, Shamar, for an amazing introduction. I truly appreciate that. It's an honor, and I'm just very, very excited for the opportunity to speak to the audience of the Eagle Podcast today. So, yes, my name is Jessica Pichardo. I am born and raised in Tampa, Florida. I'm a licensed financial advisor, investment specialist, if you will. And I've been in the industry now for about 10 years. My background originally was in healthcare. So at that time, of course, I had no experience in finances whatsoever. I made a complete unexpected career change because I was, in my mid-20s. I got started in what we call, the big girl job. After finishing my master's degree, I relocated from Tampa to go down, take my talents to Miami. And that's where I ended up. But with $120,000 worth of student loan debt. I didn't have any money put away for me to actually go to school. Not a whole lot of scholarships. So that's what I did to get myself in there, get my education covered. So, when I got into my job, I wasn't making the money that I was expecting with a master's degree, at all. I was just very, disappointed with that. And I liked the work that I was doing, because it involved helping people. I mean, I was, doing, medical research and things like that. But when it comes down to it, it takes money to live. Money makes the world go round. And I remember logging into, my portal when they tell you about like your retirement benefits and things like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been in school this whole time. Like, am I behind? How much do I need to put away for retirement? I started, Googling all these things. And I guess, God heard my plea for answers, because not only was I looking for a financial education, But I was also, looking to bring some more money in. I've always had luxury taste in things. I love nice cars. I like to eat out. I like to travel. I like all these different things. But the fact of the matter is, those things, it does take us an income to do that. So I was seeking opportunity. And while I was in Miami, a mutual friend just got wind that I was looking to make some more money. And I was looking all around to get an extra part-time job. You guys could probably relate to this. When you need some more money, you think about, okay, what can I do on the side? And I wasn't, I was a young girl living in Miami. I'm like, I'm not going to drive Uber like that. That's not going to happen. So I was looking, for something part-time in like retail or a restaurant. I was looking at movie theaters, and, this friend was just like, hey, Jessica, like, you have this master's degree, I thought that you were doing well, financially. I thought you were making maybe like close to six figures. I was like, no, absolutely not. And he's like, I really want to show you what it is that I do. I work in the financial industry. I had no idea what that meant. But long story short, I fell in love with it. I got licensed, during that time. I started out as a part-time advisor. I still kept my full-time job. Some things changed there, and I decided to do this full-fledged because I just love the education that I got. I felt like, if I had an advanced degree, a lot of my peers had advanced degrees. If I didn't know this information about finances, a lot of them didn't. So I saw a new opportunity now, different than my previous one, as a way to, give back and serve my community and really give that financial education. So that's how I got here now. So a few things I'd like to share. I'm sure everyone living in the world, you notice that, our education system doesn't really teach us a whole lot about money. And I always ask my clients, when I meet with them one-on-one, like, why do you think that is? Well, if we really, really knew a lot about money, how to free ourselves financially, be financially independent, nobody would work for corporations. Everybody would be enjoying living life, completely free. We wouldn't really need the banks, it would just reset the whole system. So that's why that's really, left out of our education. But guys, like, it's just so important, right? So invaluable. So a few things that I always share with my clients is there's 3 accounts that you want to have, okay, when it comes to investing, okay? 3 accounts. Why? Because each account has a different purpose, essentially, okay? So number one, you want to have a long-term account, okay? AKA your retirement account, because, hey, guys, I don't know any one person that just literally would just want to work the rest of their life to pay their bills. At one point in time, we all want to be free, have freedom, be able to get up and go, do whatever we want, not check the price tag, but able to to be able to do that one day. Well, thank you. We've actually got to put money away for that, right? So your retirement account. Now, most people have heard of, if they have one currently or they have one in the past, but a 401k, or if you work with a nonprofit, you're going to have a 403b, which is essentially, the same thing, depending on what, industry, what type of work that you do. They're called different names, right? But some type of an employer sponsored account, for your retirement. Okay. And while you're working there, take advantage of that. A lot of them do what we call a match. So whatever, you put in per paycheck, the corporation that you work for, normally it'll match you dollar per dollar. So I always tell people, hey, make sure that you max out your 401k. But I ask them this, did you know that, let's say, you just leave all your retirement funds in your 401k, when you get ready to retire, since the funds went in there, what we call pre-tax, which is before the money is taxed, right? The IRS always needs to tax money once, at least once. Okay, that's just the rules of the system that we live in. So since the money went in there not taxed, guess what? when you get ready to take it out for retirement, well, now they're going to need to tax it, okay? And now imagine, somebody that's worked for a company, 20, 30, 40 years. I'll just throw a number out there. Let's say they got $300,000 in their retirement account, okay? Imagine paying taxes on something like that, right? That you're going to give a large chunk of your money to Uncle Sam, okay? You're in a higher tax bracket as well at retirement age. So a recommendation I always have is, and I ask people, hey, have you ever heard of a Roth IRA before? Have you ever heard of a Roth IRA? And some people have, but a lot of people have not. They have no idea what that is. And an IRA, it's an individual retirement account. There is two types. There's a traditional, there's also a Roth. But I talk about the Roth because of the tax benefits of where when you get ready to withdraw that for retirement, well, that money goes in already taxed. Okay, so now when you take that out of retirement age at 59 and a half, okay, that's the other IRS rule. You can touch that. Once you're at least 59 and a half, right, you don't have to pay any taxes on it, okay? So for anyone that I sit down with, I'm like, hey, we definitely need to open up for you a Roth IRA, okay? And this is why. This is like one of the greatest benefits that we have access to as working individuals, to be able to contribute to something like this for retirement. I mean, tax-free money later, okay? So that's that long term, okay? Now, what I recommend before we get into the conversation even about saving for long term for retirement is the emergency account, okay? AKA I also like to call it a short-term account. Some people don't like the word emergency. It maybe has kind of like a negative, context connotation to it, but your short-term account, okay? And what are you investing for this type of account? Well, if you're a homeowner, okay, I'm sure you've come across a time where, especially if you live in Florida, right? The air conditioning goes out and it's summertime and it's like $400 to $700 to repair it, but you're so hot. So you're like, I need to pay for this. And it hurts so much, right? Most Americans, right? They don't have $1,000, set aside for an emergency like that. And they have to go into, start swiping their credit cards if something like that comes up. So I always say, hey, make sure that you have an emergency fund, a short-term fund for if something happens like that. Your washer and dryer could break. Any appliance, in your home could break. Okay. That's what you use that account for. Car repairs, that's so common. I mean, just over the last 6 months, my car, and it's a very reliable, wonderful car, but the alternator went out. Before that happened, the brakes needed to be replaced. And before that happened, all 4 tires needed to be replaced. We're looking at about, $3,000 worth of car repairs. There's a larger proportion of people that don't have that much money set aside for something unexpected that comes up. Let's say that you lose your job. That happens too, or you're in between jobs. You get an illness, things like that. You want to have about 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses put away in that account. Okay, put away in that account. Why? Because it gives you time, about 3 to 6 months, to usually find another job, okay, so that you can stop pulling from that account and then use your income to cover your expenses. Now, that can be daunting for some people. So I say, hey, we like to start in baby steps, okay? Rome was not built in one day. So let's get a goal first. Let's get you, to $1,000. Right? Once we get you to $1,000, then we'll get you to 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses. Then we'll build you up to 1 year and then 2 years. Okay. Most people, if they have 2 years worth of their living expenses put away, they're comfortable. Okay. They're not stressed if something crazy happens, life happens, things like that. Okay. And then the third account that I like to talk about, this is your midterm account. Okay. I also like to call this one kind of like your dreams and goals account. This is where I tell people, hey, do you want to put away, for something for your kids, maybe for like if they have, you want to plan for their wedding, This is where a lot of people, they'll start saving for their home, a down payment for their home. Do you have a bucket list, like a travel list, place that you want to go to? Let's put in for that, right? So because, human beings, like, we're emotional, okay? We're all a little bit emotional for the most part with our money. And we know if we set our sights on something that we really want, to do, maybe like a nice car, new car, want to change that out, things like that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to spend the money on it, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, but I like to recommend all my clients, I'm like, enjoy your money, splurge, do things, but just make sure you plan for it and make sure you put away for it, okay? I like to say, if you save your money, it'll always save you. So those are the three main accounts. Outside of that, there's a concept, okay, that I always teach. It's called PYF, okay, kind of like Michael Jackson's like PYT, Pretty Young Thing. Well, this is PYF, okay, pay yourself first. We have this habit, guys. This is just kind of, it's habit, right? Because, we learned it from our parents, they learned it from their parents, but we just, we earn our money, we work, the money comes in, okay? The first thing that we go ahead and do is we put it in the bank, and then from the bank, we pay our expenses, okay? And then the next month goes around, we earn our money, we put it in the bank, it goes towards expenses, earn the money again, goes towards the bank, put it towards expenses. And most people, what they have in their, this concept in their mind, that they're like, well, whatever I have left over, after I take care of those things, I pay my rent or mortgage, my utilities, the car note. After I do all that, whatever I have left, then I'll save, right? But that leaves us in such a poor financial, predicament. Okay. And I ask people, I'm like, what's more important? Is it your family or, the electric bills company, their families? Or T-Mobile, your phone bills, like their families, like what, those people have a lot of money already, okay? What is most important? They're like, well, my family, my generation, my legacy. And I'm like, well, that's why it's so important for you to pay yourself first. So what we want to get in the habit of doing is we earn the money, okay? We pay ourselves in those accounts that we talked about. And then after that, then we go ahead and we cover our expenses, okay? Most people can put away anywhere between 10 to 15% of their income on a monthly basis. Or I also like to say, $200 to $300 to be able to put away for their future, okay? And that's so important, guys. It's so important. One concept that I like to talk about too, because I wanna revisit, the retirement talk, okay? Because that's such a big deal, guys. We don't know what's gonna happen, in our older age. Life will change, things like that. That just, it's so important. All the accounts are important, but I want to harp on this one a lot because there's something going on right now, guys, and it's basically an epidemic. Where people are retiring without enough money because they never sat with, an advisor like myself. And to be honest, most advisors, you have to have about, $250,000 laying around minimum for them to even consider, sitting with you. And you've got to, pay fees for their time, things like that, right? My clientele, my market is just, your regular average working families, okay? Because I just feel, everyone deserves to retire, right? And so, I can give a few of my family members examples, right? They were just putting away, in their retirement account blindly, trusting, their employer that they were doing the best thing for them, never had anyone review their 401k statements, see what type of returns they were getting, the balance, what they were expected to have. Nobody sat with them at their job and said, hey, I don't know, hey, Delissa, hey, Michael, I'm just throwing some example names out there. What age do you want to retire? And how much in today's dollars would you need coming in on a monthly basis for you to retire, okay? Nobody sits down, from your employer and asks you that. They just throw you in something, one size fits all, and then you kind of close your eyes and hope for the best and say, well, they pull out of my check every 2 weeks. for this, right? But you always want to have somebody sit down and actually review your 401k. If you have any old 401ks, let's say that you left a job. I do so much of this. This is actually a very large portion of my clients come from something that I do that's called a rollover, okay? And that just means, you left money behind at an old 401k in the past. Okay, you're not working there anymore. That means it's not doing anything. It's not growing. And one thing I like to say, everyone kind of laughs at this, but I'm like, leaving your 401k at an old job that you're not at anymore is like leaving your wallet at your ex's house. Number one, it's not safe. And number two, it's not going to grow. It's not going to do anything. Okay, it's just dormant there. Right? So we always want to take old 401k money, and move it into your IRA. Now you've got more options. If you change jobs again, you have that IRA that you can, always have all your retirement funds in one place, right? And like I said, just gives you so many more, you're open to more options, right? As far as in investing. And another thing with that, guys, so there's something called the rule of 72. And this really excited me so much when I got started in this industry. And let me tell you why. When I saw this, I was like, oh, this is how people get wealthy. Why am I just now seeing something like this at the age of 25? Like, I should have seen this immediately, before I started working. Okay, so the rule of 72, it's a banker's rule, and it essentially just says hey, you take the interest rate that you're getting on your money. All right. You divide into the number 72. It's going to tell you the amount of years it takes for your money to double. Okay. So the issue with a lot of people is once they retire. Okay. So let's say they leave a corporation, take their money, and let's say hypothetically they didn't have an IRA or anything like that. They just dump it in the bank and it sits in the bank. And we know bank returns, they're not a whole lot, 0 to 3%. If you're lucky, somebody sat down with you and talked about, CD, certificates of deposit, things, high yield savings, things like that, make it around a 6%. But you're looking at, it's going to take you every 24 years or so for your money to double. And I just think that that's so long. Most people agree with me that just such a long time, right? And I educate them. I'm like, but what if you could get 9%? What if you get 12%, or more on your money, where your money doubles every 6 years? Wouldn't that be amazing, right? There's something called the power of compound interest, okay? It is like the eighth wonder of the world, right? That thing just compounds. Once it starts compounding, it'll start compounding, right? And so you're able to do that with something called mutual funds, okay? With mutual funds. Now, how a mutual fund works, guys, and I'm not going to get too technical today, if anyone ever would want to, set some time with me and learn a little bit more about some of these concepts I'm sharing with you, I will, definitely be happy to do something like that. But how a mutual fund works is it's basically, most people have heard of a stock, right? Well, stocks, right? If you invest in, any one stock, any of those companies at any given time, the market could change, company could go out of business, all these different things, right? But within a mutual fund, there's many stocks, okay? Many funds, many companies. So I like to give the example of an elevator. If you had the option to get on 3 different elevators, let's say elevator 1, had no cords whatsoever. Elevator 2 had 1 cord, and then elevator 3 had 600 cords. Which elevator would you want to get on? And everybody says, well, I want to get on elevator number 3 with the 600 cords. They say, okay, well, why is that? They're like, well, it's safe. I'm like, all right, well, there's our answer. So that elevator with 600 cords is your mutual fund, all right? This is what you want to be, investing in. Mutual funds average since the early 1900s when they first began 9 to 12%. Okay, and that's a great way to grow your wealth. You wanna invest in mutual funds. Okay, so we're gonna talk about those 3 different accounts like I was talking about: your long-term retirement, your short-term emergency, and your mid-term, your fun account. Okay, you wanna invest those into mutual funds. Okay, and I do want to share, some client wins. Essentially, I was, blessed with the opportunity to help several clients with their retirement very, very recently. And I want to give the example of one of them. It was just a referral through a friend, and this lady, she's in her 50s, retired, military lady. Okay. Her and her husband, well off, not paycheck to paycheck by any means, right? But here's the thing. When she retired, okay, she left, her TSP account. That's what they use for military people. Just as is, she's like, there's over $200,000 in there. Okay. Which is not bad, but she felt like it really wasn't growing. She also felt like, she's like, hey, I'm in my 50s now. I really want to protect what I already have. And, there's, questions that we asked, several meetings, later and things like that. But we found for her that the best option was going to be for her to go ahead and take a look at something that we call an annuity. Okay. We were able to help her out with that. She was so excited, right? Because it basically, for people that are getting like closer to that retirement age, we want to make sure that we're protecting what they built up for so long. Okay. Because we, when you're younger, you have so much time, in the market and things like that, right? But when you start approaching, getting closer and closer to that 59 and a half, you're like, okay, well, what I built up all these years, like I wanted in something, it's not going to fluctuate too much, right? So she happened to be a great fit for this. We helped her out, and she was just so excited about that. And it was just a great feeling because it's like, this is someone that served our country, for decades. And nobody had ever sat down with her and talked to her about an option like that. It was just a disservice to her. And she would have just left and kept doing what she was doing, that TSP, who knows what would have happened. So that was, a client win I was very happy to be able to help her with. Recently as well, I had these siblings, right? And unfortunately, their mother passed away. She left behind a life insurance policy for them, divided up amongst the three of them. And before that paid out, I sat with them and I educated them on some of this stuff, and I let them know, like, hey guys, you're all very young. This is a great opportunity for you guys to go ahead and make a wise decision, continue the legacy that your mom started for you. Let's get these 3 accounts going. We're going to, leave you some fun money, of course, right? You'll need some money on hand to cover your expenses, but we need to get you saving for long-term for retirement. We need to, you have an emergency, things are going to come up for you guys. And then, anything that you want to do for fun and account for that. And we did that. Their baby sister, we were able to actually open up for her an education account, which is such a big deal. So life-changing, it felt so good to be able to do that for them. I mean, they're just having like such a great start to their future. It's a very unfortunate situation, of course, about their mom, but so happy that I was able to help them there with that. So definitely wanted to share those couple stories. And, again, I hope this information was so valuable to everyone listening. Again, my name is Jessica Pichardo, licensed financial advisor in Florida. I am able to help, though, in any state, in case you're listening to this and you're not local to the Florida area. I can help you within any state. If you want to follow me on Instagram, also, you can find me at @therealjessica_P on Instagram, Jessica Pichardo on TikTok. And yeah, happy to share, my other contact information. You guys can always reach out to me directly, or Shamar. Shamar is a great friend and connection of mine. I met through, another business connection as well. So again, thank you all so much for your time and for listening. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Woo, 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 woo. That was so good, Jessica. That was so good. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Guys, I won't I won't even say anything because the expert spoke. But what I will say though, guys, because like I said, in set goals and hit them. If you wanna, make money and be wealthy, you have to take some certain steps. And this is one of the most important steps, in my opinion. Because again, it's something that I was looking into, and God has it that I met Jessica. You get what I'm saying? Like she said, I met her through a mutual friend, right? And literally, I didn't have to pay her. Most financial experts, you have to pay them to sit down with them, but not Jessica. She sat down with me. She walked me through the options, and I'm on track. You get what I'm saying? I'm on track. So again, guys, if this is something that you're looking into, I'll do my best to put her Instagram in the description so you could find her and you could hit her up. But again, guys, Eagle Podcast Night Talks. It was great to have Jessica tonight. I hope you guys, take a lot from this, and I hope you guys replay it because again, she covers a lot. I know it was just like 25 minutes, but a lot of information was covered. All right, and like she said, if you guys do want more information about something specifically that she said, go find her on Instagram. I even asked me because I have her number. So reach out to me, ask me for her number. I'll give you her number with obviously with her, consent, right? And yeah, we'll go from there. But again, guys, have a good night.